Hey everybody, today we're trying to tackle my TBR. Hey everybody, my name is Sofia, the Bookish Floor. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing a new series called Read It or Pluck It, and I'm gonna try and tackle my TBR. So right now, my library, you've seen me here because my library is being clean, reorganized, painted, all those things. And my books are everywhere. But I moved one of my bookshelves into my room. I have my TBR right there. So why don't I go ahead and show you the books that I'm planning on reading from my TBR. So the first book that I'm planning to read out of that current physical TBR, I have more books on my TBR. However, I'm doing the process of disinfecting all of them in the freezer and doing all that thing just because I'm doing a re-cleaning, a lot of, or cleaning again, rearranging, all that, and a lot of my books are secondhand, so some of them have made their way into my library without me doing this. And yeah, since I'm already doing the rearranging, I decided, why don't we go ahead and treat all the books and yeah, start clean, start fresh. So the first one, these are the ones that have already been through that process. And the one that I selected was Wild Girls. So I love this cover. So Wild Girls was pretty popular, I think, a while back. This is a YA, and this is a book about girls who are pretty much living through a what could have been like a pandemic type situation. They all go to like a boarding school in an island, and when this outbreak starts, they're there, so they're quarantined there. This sort of virus that they all have, it's different. It kind of destroys your system. It makes you lose some parts, like this girl right here who lost her eye, another one grew a different spleen. So yeah, different things are going on, and this is pretty much how these girls are gonna survive in the island. How are they getting food? How is the strategy between them working? I feel like if you have seen like the Testaments right now, imagine if the Testaments took place in an island and there was an actual like virus going on. So how the girls are gonna behave towards each other, how they have formed cliques, how many have survived. So I already started a little bit of it, and it's been a lot of fun. Well, fun might not be the word, but very interesting, very there's this whole mystery which I love. And yeah, I'm just having a good time with it. It's also YA, so there's a lot of angst and things that are going on with them internally that are very interesting. So yeah, I'm really liking this book. I think I'm about a third in. So yeah, this is Wilder Girls. As soon as I'm done with it, I'll give you the wrap up, and then I'll pick another book. Hey everybody, so I wanted to give you an update on Wilder Girls. I was able to finish it, and I do like it. I didn't like it as much as I thought I would at the beginning, with all that dystopian, sort of like Lord of the Flies, and they have to form their own little society. They have every single one of them has like something that they have to do. The rations of the food are limited. They do get rations of food, but it's very limited. And then there's sort of mysterious disappearings, even though people are still perishing from this virus. And there's only two adults in the island that are sort of in charge, the headmaster and one of the teachers. So it is really exciting. It's more about the journey, what it's going on, more of the inner dialogue of the main girl. and the different positions she is put in emotionally and physically, and in regards to her place in the group. So if that part is very interesting, and obviously this is something that they're trying to either figure out or succumb to it. So I don't want to give you the ending, but I think it was a fun, thrilling ride. It's weird to say that about a book that is like this, but it definitely kept me on the edge of my seat, even though there's a lot of more emotionally, like I said, in internal dialogue. There's not as much action. You know that there's something going on and the action is gonna be there. So yeah, I would recommend. I think I'm gonna give it a 3.5. I think that at certain points it was a little bit slower, and I think it could have been shorter, either more action or a shorter book. But I still think it's good. I know that it was very popular a little while back. So yeah, I think it's still a good read if you like dystopian, if you like that whole Lord of the Flies sort of thing, if you like survival stories. I think this is definitely the book for you. So this was Wilder Girls. So am I gonna read it or pluck it? In this case, maybe reread it or pluck it. I'm not gonna pluck it from my stash. I'm gonna leave it. It's just gonna move from my TBR to my finished books, but I'm definitely not plucking it from my book garden. It's gonna stay here. Okay, so now I have to pick another story, another book to read for this challenge. I want to try to get it to at least 3 books. So let me see what else I have available. I have selected my next read, and I think I'm gonna keep it with the YA theme, and I selected With the Fire on High. I've had this book for quite a long time now, maybe like 2-3 years, and yeah, it was definitely super popular when it first came out. I feel like everybody was talking about it, and everybody was talking about Elizabeth Acevedo. I know since this book came out, she has written a whole bunch of other books. I think this is one of the first ones of her that people were really talking about. Not sure, don't quote me on that, but I think it was. And yeah, I have it here. I have it on audiobook, so I think it's a great opportunity for my series of Read It or Pluck It to go ahead and read it now. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with this book. When I'm a little ways into the reading, I'll come back and give you an update. Hey everybody, so I have a book update. So I think I'm gonna get to that first, and then I'm gonna talk about Traders, the TV show that I've been hooked on for the last couple of days or few days, and I'll tell you how I got into it. But let's talk about the book first. I am reading With the Fire on a High, and I really gotta say this, it really got me thinking about it, because I started listening to the book, and it turns out, like most of the time, I see reviews online. I see reviews like from other bookstagrammers, booktubers, all that. And then I put it on my TBR. I see it at the thrift store or used bookstore, and I get it. And then I completely forget about it. Don't know what the premise is. Don't know what the themes are. Don't know the genre. Don't know anything. But you see a book and you kind of have an idea, right? So this book has been on my shelf for the longest time, and for the longest time I thought this was like an adult book, because you see this lovely lady and the name is With the Fire on High, and I really thought it was about maybe a woman who was maybe changing careers or her life, and maybe more like a lit fic kind of book. Turns out this is a YA. Like, does she look like she's YA? Like, it's a beautiful cover, but it doesn't look like a YA cover. Now, this might be because exactly you want people to get that book and you want more people to read that book. And this is nothing against the author or anything. I think we've already noticed that publishers, when they decide to sign a book deal, they, like, the author knows that they have no control over the cover and all that. So I think this is definitely like a marketing strategy to get more people to buy it. Luckily, I do like reading YA still, so I'm into the story, but I think it does a disservice, and I think that's probably why this was at a thrift store, because a lot of people went into it thinking that it was something and maybe it was something else. Obviously, if you read the blurb and all that, you might get an idea. But if you see a lot of recommendations and it's on your mind and you're a visual person, you remember the covers, and that's what you take when you go to the bookstore or the thrift store and so on and so forth. So anyways, I would like for the covers to actually start reflecting a little bit more of the story. I also don't like the other side where adult books have cartoon style covers that make it seem like young people, teenagers should be reading it, because I think it's misleading, and in that case I think it's even dangerous. So anyways, this is about a girl, Amari. I think her name is Amari. I always forget the names. Who is actually in her senior year of school. She wants to be a chef, and she is excellent at cooking. She goes to a charter school, but that twist, the surprise, the problem in this case, well, not the problem, the setup for the story is that she got pregnant the previous year. She gave, well, 2 previous years, because her daughter is not now 2 years old. She gave birth in the summer, and then she was able to continue with her education. It didn't really affect her school year and all that. So this is a teen mom who is trying to get through life with the help of her abuela, and she has these dreams that she wants to accomplish, and is that gonna be possible? So that's where I'm at. I'm very much in the introduction section, but I'm liking it. I'm liking the story. I want to see where it goes. But yeah, I just wanted to talk to you guys about that whole cover thing and how it kind of plays a role in people choosing books, and whether sometimes could be misleading or not. In this case, even though it's beautiful and the story is making sense with the cover, I feel like still this is a bit of an adult cover for a YA book. And yeah, but this is where I'm at. I'm liking it. I'll give you an update whenever I'm reading a bit more. And let's move on to Traders, because I'm on season 4. I binge watched all the seasons starting last Saturday, and little reader is into Traders so badly. Like, she's at school right now. She let me watch a couple of episodes, and as soon as she comes back, we're gonna continue, and we are just having the time of our lives. If you're looking for something to share with your kiddos when it's their age appropriate, I think Traders is so much fun. As someone who loves to read murder mysteries, who is always talking about the fact that I know who is gonna be and all the twists and all that, I'm really liking this show. When we finish season 3, obviously I'm super behind. Everybody knows about this show already. I'm behind because here where I'm at, we don't have I don't have cable. Like, people have cable, I don't have cable. I only have streaming services, and I have to sign up for Universal. In this case, the streaming service for Universal. We don't have Peacock here, and I just decided to do this is such a coincidence. We decided to do a trial of Universal so that little reader could watch Coraline. Traders was there, and I decided, let's just binge watch before my trial ends, because I'm gonna cancel it before the trial ends. And then when the next season comes, I'll just get it once the season is over, because I like binge watching this show. So I'm loving that show. I think it's so much fun. When the 3rd season ended for us, I said it would be a great twist if there are other Trader. Now, if you guys haven't seen it, skip. Might put Trader spoilers, but I think everybody has pretty much seen it. So I said to my little reader, I think it would be a great twist to have other traders besides the main 3, and have them like pick who they want to murder, and then obviously the traders would pick. If it's the same person, they should go ahead with the plan. If it's the different person, then the traders or trader who is hiding, who no one knows, and even the public doesn't know, that would be the choice. So I thought that was like a great idea. And what do you think? season 4 comes up, and that's pretty much something that happens. So yeah, I think I'll be good. I think someone should hire me because I have so many ideas for that show, and it's so much fun. And honestly, it's fun just thinking about the ideas and then see if that happens. I think I've already said like 2 or 3 ideas out loud, and they have happened on the show. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist, but it just how to make it more fun and things like that. So I'm watching it right now, like I said, season 4. I'm rooting for Stephen Coletti, honestly. I'm rooting for him, and I'm rooting for who else am I rooting for? Tara and Johnny are funny. I mean, Johnny is like yeah, he's been like comedic relief for us here because we keep thinking, and I'm sorry for this, but we keep thinking about that episode 1 fall into the water, and that was just so hilarious because we're thinking like, why didn't you let go of the boat? Why didn't you just push and stay on the dock? But I guess not. So good thing he's okay. Like, we wouldn't be laughing if he wasn't okay. But and the other thing that I just wanted to come here and say about this show is that any man, because all I've seen is men who eats I can't believe I'm gonna say that, but any man who takes the boiled egg at breakfast and puts the whole thing or half of the thing in their mouth, have the boiled egg, should be eliminated. I've seen so many shots of like, even Steven, I'm sorry Steven, I love you, but why are you guys, men, because I haven't seen girls do this, taking like the full boiled egg and putting it in your mouth? Like, what is that about? That is not how you eat boiled eggs. Like, cut it in half and bite it demurely. Like, what is going on? So yeah, if I were in Traders and I would have to vote people out, that would be like my first clue. Like, that's how you eat an egg? Okay, you're out. You're gonna get murdered tonight. Because I couldn't be watching that every morning at breakfast. That's insane behavior. Now, my other idea for Traders, and I know season 5 isn't out, so if they want to take this idea and maybe hire me, that would be great. If not, just take the idea and it'll be so much fun. I think you should include YouTubers. Because you have all these reality people from everywhere, and even shows that people aren't seen in America necessarily, and people that people aren't seen in the UK, which is where the show is set. So I think YouTubers have a lot of views, honestly, and some of them have even more followers and views than regular TV shows. So I think my strategy would be, who would be so fun, and honestly, I would love to see Hope Scope. She would be so much fun. Like, for fun people, would be Hope Scope, Mia Maples, and her mom. Like, that would be so fun. I would also love Froggy Crossing. I think she's so much fun. And the last one, because I think she can play 2 parts. She loves to read, and she also loves gaming, like video gaming. So I think Cozy K might be a good option, but I think she might be too kind and too nice. But Cozy K. For people who are on BookTube, I think people on BookTube would be so good, especially the ones who love to read murder mystery, horror, things like that. So I would suggest Meg with Books, because Meg with Books is already in the UK. I think she's so much fun. I would love to see her trying to solve who the traders are. So I think that would be so entertaining. From the UK, I would also pick Gavin from Gavin Reads It All. I think he's so much fun. He also loves to read all kinds of books, including murder mystery, and I think he would be hilarious. And I think that from the US, I would pick Gabby from Gabby Reads, because she reads a lot of horror. Not so much mystery, but she reads a lot of horror. So I think that for those challenges that are more horror-like the cabins, she would be awesome. And maybe someone else that I would pick is from Canada, Books and Lala, because she definitely reads all kinds of books, all kinds of people. She can be a little mischievous, so I think that would be so much fun. So if you guys want to take this into consideration, the trader people, I think these people from YouTube would be so much fun to watch on Traders. And that's enough about Traders. I'm gonna keep watching season 4. I'll let you know what I think. And yeah, I'm gonna keep listening also too with the Fire on High. Yeah. Hey everybody, my next update for With the Fire on Hot. I'm about the halfway point. Imani is going, because she does go to, so before I continue, if you don't want any spoilers, you can skip ahead. I'm going to try not to give you spoilers, but I'm going to tell you a little bit of the book. So Amani, since she goes to a charter school, they get a chance to pick electives, and she picks a cooking class or a culinary class. They actually make that emphasis that it's not a cooking class, it is a culinary class, and some of her classmates have already switched electives. She is there with a new kid, a new boy, who is coming into the school. And she is wanting to impress the chef. She is wanting to get her certificate that she can work in a proper kitchen, so maybe she can get a better job, because right now she has a part-time job at like a burger joint. And she is also, there's also a prize, or not a prize, a trip to Spain to learn how to cook like Spanish food. So there's a couple of things that might be in the way for Imani to fulfill her dreams of being a cook or being a chef, and maybe having her own restaurant, running her own kitchen. So she is a single mom, even though the dad of her kid is around. It's only for the weekends. Like I said, she lives with her grandma. Something I think might be happening to the grandma because she has been going to the doctor. Her father is not present. He lives in Puerto Rico, and he only comes and visits like for a month during the summer. So she really has a bunch of things. Obviously, she goes to a charter school, but she is not a well-to-do person. So she really has to, they haven't mentioned that, but I'm guessing she's gonna have to work some way or raise some funds in order for her to be able to go to Spain. So yeah, I'm worried for her in that aspect. Things that I'm liking her whole story. She is very focused. She is not interested in dating or boys or anything because of what happened with her and her first boyfriend when she was just a freshman, which is ninth grade, which is crazy. And yeah, I think that's all like the interesting things that are going on. Something that I'm not liking, and this could be just a me thing, so you guys let me know if you have read this book, because I am very much involved in early development and in teaching and all that. Something that I keep reading and studying on is childhood development, not only for the first 6 years of life, but up to age 25, which is not necessarily high school, but is a late adolescence. So if you know all this, you know how much a ninth grader is still a child, and this doesn't come from a mother perspective. This doesn't come from a wanting to see teenagers as people that they don't know things, because teenagers know a lot of things. This is coming from an actual science-based information that I have, facts, where each individual have different stages, especially again in the first 25 years of life, and how much a ninth grader is still in that especially, yeah, a ninth grader is a 14-year-old, maybe 15-year-old, and there's barely out of childhood, barely. So it bothers me how obviously she isn't taking the topic lightly of her having a baby at that young age, but the culture around it. And yeah, I know that the culture around it is like that everywhere, like teenagers doing having like adult relationships with each other, and maybe even with people they shouldn't, because there's an age gap there. And in those ages, in that age gap is significant in that time period. So it still bothers me how a lot of authors, I feel, and I'm not saying this about Elizabeth Acevedo in particular, just in general, I feel like a lot of authors who write kids literature or teen literature, YA, they really don't know a lot about stages of life. and what childhood and early adolescence and late adolescence really is. And I feel like they should know more and not just go by society. I know that we are gonna do a reflection on what society is like, but a lot of the things that society takes into account for it to be shaped are a lot of cultural, popular, like pop culture, and a lot of things that are going on in the media, and we've all know how much that influence them, and how much the media and things like shows, books, movies, music, fashion is gonna influence on them, but also how much the owners of these companies creating this form of entertainment or this form of identity in fashion are really manipulating the younger generations or the younger kids, and they don't really care. They don't really care about what is appropriate or not, what is expected or not, what is safe for them or not. And something that the character said that is incredibly true. I mean, I think we've all been there and heard that from friends when we were teenagers, is like when she was getting ready to maybe have relations with her boyfriend, she's like, well, everybody's doing it, so I guess I thought it was just like the next step. Like, she didn't really think about it. And again, that is the influence of everything that it's around them, but nobody ever talks about the mental readiness for that step. Everybody just talks about puberty. Like, if you hit puberty, then you should be ready for that step, and that is so far from the truth. And nobody ever really talks about the mental part, like how your brain is growing, how emotional, or how emotions are growing, how your way of thinking is growing and is being shaped also during that time. And all of that should be taken into consideration. And I know that when you're a teenager, that is the last thing you're thinking about, because you're not using your frontal lobe completely, because it's not there. But that's why adults who are writing these books do have an opportunity to influence and putting some knowledge in those books about what is really going on in their mind, in their body, in their soul during that time. And with a little bit of research, you can kind of put a few sentences there that can explain to someone who might be reading this book, to be like, oh yeah, well, yeah, everybody does that in my school, everybody does that in the book, so that's probably true. I think that a lot of people say that they're doing things that they're not, in order to not feel bad, because popularity is important. But also, again, if in culture we start actually putting in that information and what is actually expected of you as a human being, and not just within your peers because they are clueless just as you are, then I think we have a better shot. And that is something that I've been thinking about a lot when I read YA or when I read kid lit. Like, there's a lot of lack of information, there's a lot of lack of research on childhood development, adolescent development included in the books. And there's a lot of cultural and influences by media and by companies, honestly, when we're the adults, and we should know better because our frontal lobe is fully developed. So that makes me a little uncomfortable. So that is just like a general idea that I've been having for a while, not necessarily reflected on this book. I'm not sure how they're gonna take that moving forward, if it's gonna be even mentioned or something, or if that's gonna be in there some way. I don't expect it to, because like I said, I never find it anywhere. And I don't know if they don't know how to do that. They don't know how to actually put all those factual information integrated into a storyline. But yeah, I would actually advise everybody, if that's listening to this, to actually look into childhood development and adolescent development. And yes, a lot of things that happen to kids and adolescents are expected, but they're expected to happen, and for them to think, and for be adults to be guidance, and depending on how they are raised, where they are raised, there's a lot of things that it can influence that. But I feel like we're letting pop culture raise children and tell them what is normal for them to do. um, and I don't think that that's something that we should do or follow necessarily. I think that a good balance of all of it, being educated and being informed, and also understanding what it is that it's going on with teenagers, is yeah, it's a great idea for everyone. So anyways, I don't know if I made any sense. If not, let me know. Maybe I can do a longer topic about it, another blog about it. But yeah, that's the only thing that bothers me whenever I read YA, is the lack of knowledge on what is actually going on with people, and like developmentally, and in yeah, developmentally, and just how they just should always go with the flow of what we see in the media. So yeah, that's it. I think that's my update for now. I'm gonna keep reading, and then I'll let you know probably when I'm done what I think. Good morning, friends. I'm here to give you an update on With the Firearm High. I already finished this book, and I'm probably gonna give it like a 3 stars. And yeah, it's one of those 3 stars that is gonna be like mid for me. I feel bad, but I think it was a number of things that led me to that conclusion for myself. And let me tell you about them. So why didn't I necessarily love this book? And I think it was just okay. And actually, there's a few things that I feel like I have issues with, but it's not necessarily the story. And it's not necessarily the writing either. I think it's a combination of both. And I think, I don't know if this was Elizabeth Acevedo's first book. I think it was, yeah, she released like a poetry book called The Poet X, and I think this was her first like novel. And I think there's a lot of things that are very swept under the rug. Could be because of the YA genre, and things just end up very easily, and everything kind of resolves itself the whole time during the whole story, and that really bothered me. If you're gonna do it, obviously we don't want all of our main characters to always be suffering, but she presents all these dire situations just for them to be solved with a bow at the end, very quickly, very conveniently. So yeah, I think that's what is bothering me. I like stories that are different. So I would have loved a story where a girl does get pregnant. Well, this, I was gonna say I would love a story where a girl does get pregnant and that doesn't ruin her life, because those are all the stories that we're always hearing about, or that they go into horrible circumstances. And this is not the case here. However, she does present dire circumstances or horrible circumstances that, again, kind of she fixes with a little bow at the end, and everything is good, and it seems too good to be true to all these things be happening, and then all of these things to be fixed. If you're gonna introduce them, one of them has to at least not be like tied up like that, not be a super happy conflict resolution thing. Like, there's so many things that that can go wrong in this girl's life, and they just don't. So I'm like, then why present them then? like it seems almost like a fairy tale, and it seems almost like to be dumbing down the topic for the YA audience. I'm gonna give you an example. I don't want to ruin like the whole plot or everything or anything, but there's an example where she is incredibly rude to her teacher, disrespectful to her teacher from the culinary um, program, and she decides to quit and take a break and not come back to class. And she's being stubborn and she's being rude, and because she's so smart and because she is a single mom, she sort of gets a pass, which I don't think that's real life. And she goes to a restaurant where she meets the chef, and turns out that the chef is friends with the teacher. And she's like, oh my god, I do want to do this. Okay, let me go back to the class. And she goes back to the class like nothing ever happened, and everyone's okay with it, and like life doesn't necessarily resolve itself like that. The conversation that she had with the chef at the restaurant wasn't meaningful enough to give me an idea that that was gonna make her change her mind. All of a sudden she's like, oh, I changed my mind, this is my dream, I want to go back to my class. And then she goes back and everything's fine. Like that's not how it works. She missed the whole week of the class. There was no talk with her counselor, with the principal of the school. There is no, so I don't know, there's a lot of things again that they just solve themselves. So that's why I didn't particularly love this book. I like the story. I actually do again like stories where something happens that is maybe society doesn't approve, and that doesn't mean that your life is gonna end. Like, you can still have dreams, you can still do things. I think that's very important for people to know that are in that situation, that can still go on. But life is gonna be hard and things are not just gonna be handed to you, and you're not just gonna have like a perfect school year and a perfect relationship with the parental person in your life, and your daughter is not, or your kid is not gonna be perfect, and your grades are not gonna be perfect, and your perfect job is not just gonna fall out of the sky. So everything seemed too perfect. Again, it even felt like a fairy tale, to be honest. So I'll give it a 3, and I don't think I'm gonna keep this. I think I'm gonna unhaul it. I know that Elizabeth Aceves has written other stuff. I want to give her other things to try, because I know that this was I think that this was her first novel, and this is a YA. So maybe because it was YA, they asked her to tone down certain things, certain difficult topics or situations, which there are other YA books that don't do that. So glad I read it. It's been on my shelf forever. I'm again glad I read it. I don't think I'm gonna keep it. I think I'm gonna unhaul it. Another one for the Read It or Pluck It series. I did read it, but I am unfortunately gonna pluck it from my library. Next book that I'm gonna read is gonna be Magpie Murders. Let me get it. I was thinking that I was gonna do a whole YA video, but honestly, after that one, I feel like I don't want to read YA for a while, or at least right now, and I wanted to switch it up. So I decided to pick Magpie Murders. This is a newer addition to my TBR. I got it this year, and yeah, I think I got it for like $1 or $2, and I'm gonna start reading this. And yeah, it's a murder mystery, so let's see how this one goes. Hey everybody, good afternoon. Today is Wednesday, and I am reading The Magpie Murders. And this book is about a small town, or a small English village, where you have a different cast of characters, and there has been a murder of a person who used to clean one of the houses, the Magpie Manor, I think it's called, or something like that. But it's from that family, and she has issues with her son and different people from the community. So her murder might be suspicious, but actually some other people think it's an accident. So we are uncovering this, and then all of a sudden there's another dead person. So seems to be two murders and people don't know who it is. Everybody in the small town is a suspect. This is very reminiscent of, I feel like, an Agatha Christie type mystery, and I really like those mysteries. And it's a lot of fun right now because everybody dislikes everybody to a certain point. So everybody is a suspect and everybody has their reasons why they would do that. And it's interesting. And one of the characters goes and asks for the help of a detective who is not from that town. So there's eyes, there's fresh, so there's like a fresh set of eyes looking into the case. So I'm about, maybe, I was gonna say like halfway there, but probably less than that. And like I said, I'm having a lot of fun. The whole small town English narrator, I don't know, it feels very reminiscent of Agatha Christie. I believe this is also like an adapted series. Well, I'm not sure if it's a series, but I think this has been adapted, or it just sounds familiar. But again, it's one of those old school mysteries that I really, really like. And I'm enjoying trying to figure out, honestly. Usually I'm like, yeah, I know who it is this person or is that person. In this case, I feel like everybody is a suspect and everybody has the same chances to be the culprit. So I'm still not sure. There's more things to be investigated, but yeah, definitely the new detective with the fresh outlook on what's going on. I think it's gonna be the one who's gonna give us like different perspectives, because up to now we've only been hearing from other members of the community, and like I said, everybody kind of has a reason to dislike each other. So everybody is kind of looking guilty right now. So anyway, that's the Magpie Murders. So I'm gonna keep listening to this one to see if it's something that I'm gonna keep in my library. I'm gonna pluck it from my library and maybe give it away or sell it. So I'll let you know when I've listened to a little bit more. Good morning, everyone. I'm still on Magpie Murders, and something crazy just happened. So I'm like halfway through the book. So there's gonna be spoilers. Please, if you don't want any spoilers on this book, just put it on mute while you have the words spoilers probably here. And then all of a sudden, it's I think I'm in shock. And then, okay, so I'm still a Magpie Murders, and something crazy just happened. I'm about halfway through the book, and then all of a sudden, the murder that we're following, it's actually a book. So it's a book within a book. I didn't know that because I never read the blurbs. I just grabbed the books and started listening to them or reading them. And so, yeah, there's a book within a book. All of a sudden, the writer of the Magpie Murders, which is a book in a series, kind of like Poirot, in the style of Poirot, which was obvious that the book was kind of imitating Poirot, but I think the actual author, like Anthony Horowitz, was doing that. But no, it's oh yes, also, but it seems that within this book there is a publishing agency, or well, yeah, there's a publishing house, there's an actual writer, and he is writing the Magpie Murders, or Magpie Murders, which is again a book in the series. Turns out it's probably gonna be, well, it's not gonna be the end of the series, because I think there's the publisher just found 2 more books within the series, but this one is not finished, or she thinks that it's finished, but she can find the missing pages. And then there's a mystery of whether or not the author in the book he's dead, but is he dead because someone unalived him, or because he unalived himself? Because turns out, okay, spoilers, I'm gonna put spoilers. I mean, I already gave you spoilers with the fact that there's a book within a book. So Okay, let me just go ahead and warn you beforehand. So, yeah, like I was saying, the author within the book seems to be gone, and now it's the publisher's job to figure out what happened really, how is she gonna get the pages that are missing, and what's happening there, and is she gonna be able to publish. This book has dual POV and it has dual timeline because the murder that we were following, which is actually a book, is set in the 1940s, late 1940s, and the publisher who is publishing this book series is in present time. So yeah, that's what we have right now. So I'm there. I'm a little surprised, but it's like two books within one. So I guess we're gonna solve the murder of the author, and then once that's done, I'm guessing we're gonna solve the murder of Magpie Murders of the book, because she's probably gonna find the pages. So, or she's gonna have to write them herself. So that's where I'm at. I was feeling like this is going very slowly. I thought that the mystery was almost done, and yet I still had like half of the book left. I thought this is gonna drag on forever. But with that twist in the middle of changing timelines, changing POVs, narrators, it's a woman now, and the first one is Mel, which is a detective. So it's like two books within one. So yeah, it kind of picked up, and now I'm really, well, I was paying attention before, but now I'm really paying attention because it's sort of like a new it's sort of like a new season of a story. So yeah, I'm again like halfway through, a little bit more than halfway through. I think I'm gonna check in later on if there's maybe another change, but I'll let you know how I'm doing. I'm probably gonna finish this today, hopefully today, because I've been dragging this blog. You guys don't know this because you're gonna see it within a few minutes, but this has been for me like 2 weeks. So yeah, I need to finish this book to do that first episode of Read It or Pluck It, and then move on to other books. So yeah, I'm gonna continue with this one. Hey everybody, good morning. So I'm finally done with Magpie Murders, and yeah, there were murders here. So this book I really liked it. I like the beginning. It is very, very, very influenced by Agatha Christie. There's a total of 3 stories, 3 murder mystery stories within one book. So if it sounds confusing, it can be a little bit if you're not paying attention. So I'm glad I took my time with this book because there's so much in it. And honestly, at the beginning, I wasn't sure what I was gonna give it, or if I was even liking it a lot, because again, it's within the same vein as Pro. This one was actually doing a great job in the first part, because I thought this is exactly what I want. And yes, it is something that's already been done, but I like that way that that genre is written. So I don't care if there's a million detective stories, if they follow the same ideas as Poirot and Agatha Christie. I honestly enjoy it, but I said it before, I was getting a little worried because I was only halfway through the story, and I felt like it was almost gonna be done soon, and what was gonna happen to the next half of the book, because it's a little bit of a big book. So what was gonna happen? Are they gonna ruin it? And no, they don't ruin it. They up the ante by adding a second mystery within the same vein. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. At the end, I knew that I had to be paying attention because otherwise I was gonna miss it. Something that I like is that by listening to the book, it kind of led me to believe that someone was the murderer, but then within the same book, it tells you, oh, all the clues lead to this, but it's not that. It's not them. And that was a lot of fun, kind of you trying to solve it, but the book is knowing exactly, or the author knows exactly what they're doing by feeding you these clues that you think you're gonna be there and then switching them around. So that was a lot of fun. I really liked it. I think I'm gonna give it 4 stars. I do think that by having 3 different storylines, uh, it's a bit much. You definitely have to be 100% in it. The third storyline, I would call it, I think it was pretty short, so I like that. It's pretty short-lived and resolved quickly, so I don't think it takes away that much, but I don't think it also adds that much. So yeah, the third one could have been out of there. Maybe it would have flown a little bit better and it would have been a 5 stars, but it's still an incredible fun book. If you like murder mysteries, if you like Agatha Christie, I think this is the book for you. And that brings us to the end of this super long blog. I hope you like this, read it or pluck it. I read these 2. I didn't pluck them, and I'm actually gonna go ahead and add them to my finished library. And unfortunately, I did pluck one from my library. I did finish it, but I'm gonna pluck it. I'm gonna unhaul it, and that was With the Fire on High. Thank you so much for watching. Remember that down there in the description you have all the ways that you can support my channel. I really appreciate it. You have all my social medias. Go ahead and follow me there. Anyways, that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to keep reading and keep blooming, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.